Hey bedtime buddies, thank you for tuning in and sharing a part of your day with us. This is Bedtime Stories with KB and Nikki Moon.
Hey,
I am Nikki Moon and this is
KB.
And we hope you guys are having an awesome day. We hope that you enjoyed this little story. We are going to be continuing the book Larger Than Life, The Adventures of American Legendary Heroes. I think we have 2 more short stories left in this book, and then this book will be finished. And KB is really excited on the next book we're going to be sharing tomorrow, probably. You guys will have to tune in to see what that is. It looks like it's going to be a really awesome book. But this short story that we are reading is called Strap Buckner, the Texas Fighter. We're just going to dig right into it because this is sort of a longer short story.
Let's dig into it.
Let's dig into it. All right, right here. One of the greatest heroes of Texas was Strap Buckner.
We're done.
He was called Strap because he was such a strapping big fellow. He was the size of a grizzly bear and as strong as 10 wildcats. His face was ruddy and freckled, his hair was red as fire, and bushy as the mane of an African lion. He was a kind and generous man at heart, but his strength was his pride, and his downfall was his love of fighting. He would wade into the middle of any fight already underway, or start one if things were too quiet. When the fight was over, he was always the last man standing. Then he would help those he had knocked down to their feet in a friendly manner, thank them politely for their time, and say he was sorry for any broken bones or bruises that he had caused. He was often heard to say, however, "The folks in this town can't give me a fair fight. Where's the fun in that?" About this time, a huge black bull named Noche, which is Spanish for night, appeared near town. The animal tossed men with a flick of his horns, and people were afraid to go outdoors. "Now here's a real contest for me," Strap cried. He marched out to face the wild Bill, while the townsfolk watched from doors and windows. Strap threw a red blanket over his shoulder like a bullfighter. When Noche saw him, his tail shot up like a flagpole, then began shifting back and forth.
Back and forth.
The bull snorted and pawed the ground and roared loud enough to rattle teacups and teeth. But Strap just grinned and began to do the same as Noche. He pawed the ground with his boot and he roared even louder than the bull. Noche, angry at being made fun of, charged the man like a train that had jumped its tracks.
And I can snort loud. You want to see?
Yeah, that was loud. But Strap stood his ground. At the last minute, he swung his fist and hit the bull's forehead, making a sound like a thunderclap. The bull stood frozen in place for a minute, then he staggered back and dropped down with a thud. When he could climb to his feet again, he turned tail and raced away, nor was he ever seen in those parts again.
Excuse me.
The townsfolk crowded around Strap and called him a hero, but he just rubbed his knuckles and said, "That there was a good warm-up. But I still haven't found anyone who can give me a real fight." Well, let's see if he can find one, huh?
I have my cozy blanket.
Okay, still eager to meet such a match, he decided to move on, taking his big iron club in his right hand and tossing a bundle of blankets and clothes over his left shoulder. He set out to find someone who could truly test his strength. Strap traveled west over the plains until he came to a small trading post run by Bob Turkett and Bill Smotherall. They traded beads and blankets and other things to the Indians for hides and furs. These 2 traders were good fighters themselves and fought with each other when there was no one else around. When Strap met them, Bob took a punch at him, then Bill did. With a whoop of pleasure, Strap knocked them both down, 1-2. Then he kindly helped them to their feet, and they all shook hands and became fast friends. That's kind of odd.
Oh.
When you meet somebody, hey, let's have a fight. A friendly fight.
That's odd.
Bob and Bill introduced him to the chief of the Indian tribe living nearby. Right away, Strap knocked the chief down, along with all of his Indian braves. Then Strap pulled the chief back to his feet, shook his hand, and said, "Pleased to meet you. Sorry, I didn't catch your name." "I am Chief Tulea Kahoma," the great warrior said, brushing himself off. "That's a mouthful for certain," said Strap. "I'll just call you Chief." The Indian agreed to this. He and his people were great fighters themselves and were so impressed with Strap's strength, they made him a member of the tribe. "We will call you Red Son of Blue Thunder," said Chief, "because you have red hair and you strike a blow that sounds like thunder." Then the great chief presented him with a gray horse, the largest and swiftest horse the tribe owned. Strap was so pleased with his new friends, he decided to settle down. Only one thing made him unhappy. he still had not found anyone who could match him in a fight. Strap built himself a fine cabin. In the afternoons, he would go walking and knock down just about everyone he met, and for a time he was content. One day, however, he rode his swift gray horse to the trading post, his long red hair flying out behind him like a comet's tail. There he found Chief, Bob Turkett, and Bill Smotherall playing cards. They invited Strap to join in the game, but the cards were against him. In anger, he slammed them down and sent his 3 friends flying. "Something bothering you, Strap?" asked Bill, rubbing his jaw. "Oh, I'm getting the fidget," Strap said. "I just can't be happy until I fight someone who can give me a run for my money." Then he strode to the door of the trading post and roared in a voice that was heard throughout the hills and forest on all sides. "Here I stand, Strap Buckner, the fightingest, bravest rip-roarer that ever lived. Where is the man who can knock me down? If there's someone who dares, let him step forth. I'll bet my gray horse I can beat him. Man, beast, or the devil himself, I'll fight you." At these words, a booming came from the forest and hills all around. The ground began to shake, so that Bob Turkett and Bill Smotherall and Chief hung on to each other, pale and frightened. A loud voice like a huge tree trunk breaking in half roared back, "Strap Buckner, you'll have your fight." Then all was quiet. Chief looked at Strap, shook his head, and left. "Strap," said Bob Turkett weakly, "maybe you shouldn't boast so loud." But Strap just laughed at this. His eyes burned with the fire of a man about to have his wish fulfilled. He rubbed his hands eagerly, saying, "I've got the fight I want coming, boys." And he clapped Bob and Bill on their backs so heartily he felled them both. Then he leapt onto the saddle of his gray horse and rode away. But his friend saw a strange creature like a red monkey appear on the back of the horse. It turned and thumbed its nose at them, then disappeared in a puff of blue smoke, though Strap didn't notice this. It was late in the evening when Strap reached his cabin and climbed down from his horse. Thunder rolled over the hills, while purple lightning lit the clouds. Inside his cabin, Strap ate a big dinner of hoe cake and fried bacon with gusto, while the storm rattled his windows. Suddenly, Strap heard a laugh. Turning, he saw a strange little figure, black as his iron frying pan, with eyes like 2 live coals dancing near the fireplace. It was shaped like a man, but was only 2 feet high. With a clawed hand, it thumbed a nose hooked like an eagle's beak at Strap. As it danced among the flames, a long tail with a sharp point snapped in the air behind it. "Who the devil are you?" Strap cried, grabbing his iron club. "Skin for skin," piped the figure. "Skin for skin." "What do you want?" Strap asked. But the figure just danced out onto the middle of the floor. Then it grew taller.
M-O-M-Y.
M-O-M-M-Y?
Mommy.
It's M-O-M-M-Y, but good try.
Mommy.
Then it grew taller, until its head was at Strap's chest. "Skin for skin," it said again. "Skin for skin? What does that mean?" Strap wondered. But the creature grew again, and now its glowing red eyes were as high as Strap's own. "You challenged the devil to a fight, and I'm here to take you up on your challenge. But instead of betting your horse, the bet I have in mind is this: my skin for yours. Will you accept? You'll find no better match anywhere on the earth or under it. Follow me if you dare." And the devil stepped outside into the storm.
I don't like storm.
Let's see.
M-O-M.
"Now here's the contest for me," Strap shouted, so eager for a good fight and so proud of his strength he didn't give a thought to what he was risking.
You ready?
Taking his iron club in his right hand, Strap followed the devil, who led him through the howling wind to a circle of oaks on the top of a nearby hill. The green grass inside made a perfect ring for the devil and Strap to fight each other. Then, roaring with laughter, the devil suddenly began to grow and grow until he was 190 feet tall and 80 feet across at the shoulders. His forked tail whipped back and forth, cutting the tops of the tallest oaks. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, let me show it to you a little bit longer.
Yes.
Ugh, creepy.
so you can see him more.
This is no fair fight, complained Strap. All bets are off. The devil looked down and said in a voice that shook the trees more than the storm, I don't like cold iron. Put down your weapon and I'll resume a height more to your liking. Strap tossed aside his iron club. At the same moment, the devil started shrinking until he was exactly Strap's size. Both raised their fists like boxers. They circled each other, punching and ducking, dancing close and jumping back. Blow after blow connected. First one and then the other was knocked down. But the devil bounced back more quickly because he wound his tail into a spring.
Wow, wow, wow.
Each time, Strap would whoop with delight to have found a fighter who could go the distance. Round by round, they went at it, lit by lightning and covered with mud. First one and then the other would get in a lucky blow. But they were such a good match, neither got the best of the other for a while. The mountains around them rang with the sounds of their contest. Bob Turkett and Bill Smotherall on the porch of their trading post, and Chief and his people in their village, watched the ring of oak trees shudder and shake. None of them dared to go see what was happening. But he was so eager for a good fight, Strap forgot that a fight with the devil can never really be a fair match. And Strap Buckner, for all his strength, was still a man, and little by little he became so tired out that his eyes grew heavy and he couldn't raise his arms anymore. Then the devil threw a final punch and felled Strap as cleanly as the man had once dropped the bull Noche in his tracks. Now the devil cried, skin for skin, and reached down for the fallen man.
You can't show them a page. You didn't show them this page.
Yeah, I showed him.
Oh, yeah.
In the morning, Bob and Bill and Chief and his warriors went to where the fateful match had taken place. The ground had been torn away down to the bare rock, and in the rock were the marks of Strap's boots and the devil's hooves. Afterwards, nothing would ever grow there, nor was Strap Buckner ever seen in those parts again. But on stormy nights, when the wind howls and the thunder roars, a huge blue flame will suddenly shoot across the black clouds, turning the landscape blue. And people say when you look at that fiery bridge, you'll see galloping across it a gray, big horse, ridden by something that looks like a huge red monkey. Behind the creature sits a giant of a man whose long red hair flies out behind him like the tail of a comet.
No, like fire. Like fire.
Oh, man.
What does that mean?
So they're together. They're together. So he got a skin.
Him got him skin?
Oh, so that's probably Bill, and that's probably the devil. Who knows? What do you guys think about that story? Did you like it? Did you enjoy it?
Wait, what means you didn't read all of it?
Tell us what your favorite part about that story was.
Oh, this. Yeah, there's more.
Do you guys like thunderstorms? I love thunderstorms.
I'm gonna get you a beat, but you can't see it. You can't see.
Okay.
What do you
All right, guys. Well, we have one more story left in this book. We'll probably do that tomorrow night. And then the book, KB actually has a really great book in mind she wants to read next time. So I'm excited to read that one. But we hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you liked it, feel free to share. Make sure you like. And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe.
I'm going to get my wiggle.
We hope you guys have sweet dreams. KB is getting her wiggles out. Bye, guys. See you next time.
I'm hopping with one leg.
Bye.
Bye. Smash that like button. Turn on notifications. I'll see you tomorrow.